Good evening, everyone. Today we're going to start a chapter called Dissolution of a Firm. This is the last topic under partnership. Under dissolution of the firm, the first thing that we need to know what are the various cases of dissolution. The dissolution can happen by mutual consent, where all the partner decides that they need to dissolve the firm, or it could be a compulsory dissolution, or it could be on happening of an event, or it could be a dissolution by the court. So mutually everyone decides that they want to dissolve the firm, or one partner put the pressure on the other to compulsorily dissolve the firm, or on happening of an event. That means sometimes certain partnerships are formed on completing certain ventures. So once the venture is completed, the partnership comes to an end automatically. So this is on happening of an event. Sometimes if the firm is found to be involved in unlawful activities, then the court will order to dissolve the firm. So that is another case of dissolution of the firm. So no matter whatever dissolution they are into, we are only concerned about the accounting treatment of dissolution. Now, there are a lot of stories that goes behind this and lot of theories that goes into it, but I am concerned only about the accounting treatment over here. So this class is primarily to explain all the journals relevant to dissolution. So generally the two issues at the time of dissolution is settlement of accounts and payment of firm's debt and private debts. So when they say settlement of account, the firm needs to know what are the assets it owns and what is the money they realize by selling of all the assets. And then those money will be used to pay off the firm's debt and the private debts. Now, when the word private debts come, obviously some doubts will come in your mind, isn't it? So let us see the difference in this. A firm's asset is utilized to pay the firm's debt, and if any surplus exists, it is applied towards the payment of the private debts of the partner. Now, private debts of the partner is through the firm, alright? Private assets is utilized to pay the private debts of any partner, and if any surplus applied towards the payment of firm's debt. So when there is firm asset to pay firm's debt, the excess amount is utilized towards the private debts. And if there is private asset, it is sold off and an amount is realized. This is used to pay the private debts first, and then surplus is applied towards the payment of firm's debt. Now, accounting treatment. So in admission, retirement and death, we prepare three main accounts. One is revaluation, then partner's capital account, and last balance sheet. If balance sheet got tallied, the sum is complete. Isn't it? If balance sheet total matches, then the sum is complete. Here we are dealing with four main accounts. Realization account. Please understand the difference in the name. Here it is not revaluation, it is realization account. Then partner's loan account, then partner's capital account, then bank or cash account. So in today's class, I am going to discuss only about the realization account concerning journals. So realization account. Now, when we dissolve a firm, what do we do first? The first thing to do is close the books of accounts. What does that mean? That means close all the assets and all the liability that exist in the balance sheet. Except cash, bank, partner's loan account and partner's capital account. Leaving these four items, you have to close all the books of all the ledgers. Now, what is the journal entry concerning closing of assets? Assets have a debit balance. If it need to be closed, the asset need to be credited and realization will be debited. So realization to various assets for closure of assets. Liability having a credit balance, if need to be closed, it need to be debited. So various liabilities account that are to realization account. So this entry is passed when assets are to be closed. This entry is passed when liabilities need to be closed. Now we know there are certain assets which has a reserve. For example, debtors, fixed assets. Debtors will always have a provision for bad and doubtful debts account, right? Which is the reserve. Likewise, depreciation will be separately transferred to an account called provision for depreciation account, and then investment fluctuation reserve. Now, if there is an asset and there is a reserve, as we are transferring the asset, the concerned reserve will also be transferred to the realization account. So I'm just explaining it one more time. If debtor is there, provision for doubtful debts is also there. As debtor is transferred to its cross value, provision for doubtful debts is also transferred. So likewise, asset is transferred, concerned depreciation account is also transferred. Investment is transferred, investment fluctuation reserve is also transferred. All these reserves are liabilities, they have credit balance. So in order to cancel, in order to close, you have to debit them. And realization is credit. Now you might notice that WCR is not coming into this. Why? Because there is no asset concerning WCR. Right? These have an asset. So when you transfer the asset, you transfer the liability also. But when it comes to WCR, there is no asset over there. So this treatment is slightly different. So note it down very clearly in your notes. Treatment of WCR. If there is no liability, which means there is a reserve in the balance sheet, money is there in that fund account, but there is no claim. Okay, there is no casualty, there is no amount to be paid to any employees. Then WCR to partner's capital account. Now, there is a reserve and there is a liability. Then what? Liability is less than the reserve. Fair enough. Reserve is debited. Realization is credited to the extent of the liability. Partner's capital account is credited for the remaining reserve amount. Now, when it comes to the liability, in normal case, provision for WCC is created. That is in case of a business in continuation. Next year we will pay it off, or maybe in the next year. But here the business comes to an end. So what is the point in doing it this? We need to pay this off, right? So realization to cash. Discharge of liability. Then WCR is equal to, when liability is equal to the reserve amount. The liability and the reserve amount is same. So WCR to realization, realization to cash. Or we can simply plus WCR to cash also. Now liability is greater than the reserve. Liability amount is greater than the reserve. So WCR, partner's capital account to realization account. WCR will be debited for the amount it holds. Partner's capital account to the deficient amount, realization for the whole liability. And the liability is paid off, realization to cash. Now, when there is no WCR but liability exists, then it's realization to cash. So these are the various treatment in payment of WCR. Next one, realization of asset. Now the first few entries are concerning the transfer or closure of assets and liabilities and reserves. Now we are stepping into realizing, which is selling of the assets. So when it comes to realization, it means we selling the asset. The asset could be recorded or not. Recorded means you find it in the balance sheet. Not recorded means it's not there in the balance sheet. Maybe it exists as a scrap or something. So when an asset is sold off to the outsider, it's realization to bank account. When asset is taken over by one of the partner, when partner wants one of the asset, which belongs to the firm. Now the firm is less liable to the partner, right? So partner's capital account is debited, realization is credited. And when assert is given to a creditor towards his dues, no entry need to be passed. All right. Next one, for settlement of liabilities. Now, when it comes to liability settlement, whether recorded or not, it need to be settled. So, if a recorded liability need to be settled, it's realization to cash. If an unrecorded liability need to be settled, it's again realization to cash. But if the partner takes over the right to settle the liability, or partner says that he is going to settle the liability, then the firm is more liable to him, right? So partner's capital account is credited. Okay, so this is the cases of settling the liability. Now there is an important point to be noted. If the question is silent about the realization of some tangible asset, it is assumed that such assets are not realized. But when it comes to an outsider's liability, the amount equal to the book value is paid even though the question is silent. So you might find it in the question that there are some assets where the question is not even discussing about that. So we take it as if it is not realized at all. But when it comes to a liability and the question is silent, we have to take into account that liability and we have to make an assumption that it pays off the amount that is equal to its book value. Now, the next topic is realization expenses, which is the next important hurdle to be crossed. Now, as you all know, realization dissolution is not a one-day process, not even 1 week process. It will take its own time to and money to complete a dissolution of a firm. You know, even in real life situation, if you want to vacate your house, it doesn't end up in 1 day. It takes some amount of time and money to find a house, etc., etc. Therefore, when it comes to dissolving a firm, it takes equal amount of time and money. So there is an expense involved in it. Just like setting up a business is not easy, like that dissolving a business is also not an easy job. So realization expenses treatment is very important in accounts. Now, again there are multiple cases under that. Practically saying, expenses borne and paid by the partner. When expenses are borne and paid by the firm, expenses borne and paid by the firm. When the firm pays it, credit the cash. Realization account data to cash account. Expenses are borne by the firm but paid by the partner. The firm bears the expenses, but as of now the partner paid it. What does that mean? The firm need to reimburse the partner for the expense amount. Reimbursing means the firm is more liable to the partner. So partner's capital account is credited here. Realization account data to concerned partner's capital account. Next one, expenses borne by the partner and firm pays commission for the services. So as per the agreement, the expenses need to be borne by the partner and the firm pays only commission. So in that case, we are least concerned about what expenses the partner is going to pay because it is his job to pay the expense. We are bothered about only the commission that we are paying. So the journal entry will be only for commission, realization account data, the concerned partner's capital account for the commission amount. D. Expenses paid by the firm on behalf of a partner. Now, sometimes the partner have committed to pay the expenses, but maybe as of now he is not in a position to pay. So the firm pays the expenses, hence his capital account is debited, which means the firm is less liable towards the partner now. Expenses paid and borne by the firm, also commission paid for his services. So here expenses are borne and paid by the firm, also the commission paid by the firm. So for expenses, realization to cash. For commission, it's realization to concerned partners capital account. Expenses borne by one partner, paid by the other. Whoever is supposed to bear it, debit his capital account. Whoever is paid, credit his capital account. Alright, that's the last and final case. And now an important note. If the question is silent, assume that firm pays the realization expenses. So these are the different journals and different cases of preparation of realization account. Hope you all understood. Take a paper and pencil and note down all the journals. Study them. Do not take them as journals. Understand the scenario in which these journals are created. Then it is easy to apply them. There could be some minor changes when it comes to some, but I'm sure you will be able to adopt yourself to that if you understand and pass the journals. Hope you like my video. Thank you.